Hey friends, it's Christy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my June Plan a Card With Me video. This is a video where I take you through my entire brainstorming process of how I come up with a card concept, starting with usually no idea whatsoever and then coming up with the entire card and figuring out what the layout is going to be, what the color palette is going to be, if I'm going to use pattern paper or which dies and any other supplies, and just kind of generally coming up with the idea. So it's more of a behind the scenes look at one of my usual videos. I started doing these earlier this year and you guys seem to have really responded well to them. So I'm just going to keep doing it until you guys tell me not to. So anyway. Today I have a vague idea of what I want to work with. I have been really wanting to use this giant set from Hello Bluebird, the Sea Friends with the mermaids. I absolutely love mermaids and anything under the sea. Ariel is my favorite Disney princess, and I have watched The Little Mermaid probably 50 times easily. Like, I just absolutely love it, and I love the new adaptation as well. I just really love anything underwater or ocean themed, pirate themed, mermaid, anything like that. It's just like totally up my alley. So I have been wanting to use this set for a while, so I definitely want to use this one this week. And then I also went ahead and pulled aside the Sea Sentiments, which I may or may not use. I don't know yet, because I really have no idea other than that I want to use the mermaids. And then there's also this set called Sea Life with a bunch of more fish and whale, shark, dolphins, and other things. So I don't know if I'll use this either, because there's plenty in this giant set here, but we're going to figure it out together and decide. And yeah, so before I can figure out which stamps I'm going to use, I do need to decide what size card I want to make. I typically do prefer to do A2 size cards because I sell them at my workplace, and that's the size that I have packaging for. I don't have any packaging for any other size cards. Also, the basket that I use that I fill my cards up with, they all fit together nicely with like a standard A2 size card, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. But I don't know, I have been wanting to try a different size lately. Not try a different size, I've done all these before. I just mean I haven't done them in a little while. So I pulled out 2 different dies as options. And we have the Hello Bluebird Ocean Floor Slimline Scene. So this one has like different little rocks and all kinds of coral and underwater foliage, and this is a great one. I have used this before with that mermaid set and really enjoyed it. But there's also the Ocean Overlay, which is a square scene, and I have never used this die yet. So I'm kind of thinking I might want to do a square card today. Plus, with a square card, there is so much room. There's a lot of room on a slimline scene as well. But I feel like I might want to use this one. Now, the other thing that I could do is I could make an A2 card and just use this die anyway. I could use it without the frame and just cut everything else down, but it would be a lot of pieces to glue down, so I'm not sure that I want to do that. I might prefer to just use it as it is, as a square. So I'm kind of leaning towards the Ocean Overlay. Like I said, I have not used this die yet. I think it came out last year and I just didn't get to it for summer, and then I didn't have any ideas for it that weren't summer. It probably would have been maybe nice for maybe a snowy background as well, maybe just to use part of it. I don't know, but I didn't come up with any ideas for it, so I just didn't get a chance to use it last year when it came out. So I'm thinking I might do a square card today. It has been a little while since I've done a square. So yeah, let's do that. Okay, so then we just need to pull out our stamps and kind of figure out which of these mermaids I'm going to use. I'm going to sit down now. So I have used this one on a card before. I love her, and I've used this girl on a card before, and I think this one as well. I think I used these two on the slimline, but I don't think I've used this girl yet. So maybe we'll definitely feature her. So let's go ahead and open this up. And because this is already like on a magnetic sheet and like is gonna stay where it is, I'm just gonna lay out my stamps right on top of this. It's a slick surface as well, which means I'll be able to pick up my stamps and move them around easily. So let's start with the rock since she is sitting. We'll put this somewhere down in this vicinity, and then we'll take her and have her kind of perched on that. What do we want to have interacting with her? She obviously is looking at something. So let's maybe do the little turtle. I love turtles. They're one of my favorite animals. They're on my list of probably top 10 favorites. And this past February when I was on vacation in the Florida Keys, I actually went to the Sea Turtle Hospital in Marathon, Florida. It was incredible. It was so moving to see all of those creatures being rescued and saved and, you know, it's released back into the wild if possible. It was just incredible. So I think definitely I want to use the turtle. The turtle is so cute. I definitely have room for another mermaid if I want, or I could do a bigger fish. Let me see. Do I want... let's take a look at this one over here, the Sea Life stamp set. Is there anything? The whale would be going the right direction. The dolphins aren't really going the right direction. They're swimming away from the girl, so they're not really interacting. What about the octopus? I also love octopuses. They are just such cool creatures. Another one of my top favorites. Okay, the octopus looks really cute right there. I love some of the fish in this stamp set, like this little fish here I think is adorable. And we could have this one somewhere, maybe right there. What else? This one is cute. It's got its eye closed, so it's kind of like winking. Maybe we could have that fish somewhere here. I have to see where I'm going to put my sentiment. So things could get moved around or could end up changing as well. The cool thing about these fish is that there's one going each direction and there's also another one going that way. So if I wanted to remove this fish and use this one instead going this way, then I could have these two coming from that side. I kind of like that even better, I think. So maybe we could save room for a sentiment right in here. I'm not sure. Or maybe we could put a sentiment right here down at the bottom. So we'll put this one back on the sheet. And maybe we'll stop there with the fish for now. I want to have some foliage down on the ground. So maybe we could have something there and maybe something here over by the rock, kind of growing up the side. We'll want some seashells, maybe the starfish could come down here, and a clamshell. That could be a cute little trio. Just adjust those slightly. Okay. There's also a larger starfish. If I want to use two, I could put one over here. Okay, my camera shut off, but I decided not to use the larger starfish. I was thinking maybe this little nautilus could be cute. It's It's just a little bit smaller, and I think it fits in that little space a bit better. There's also a conch shell, which could be cute, but it depends where I put my sentiment. If I'm saving this space for the sentiment, then I won't be able to put that there. But there's also this line here, which could be cute. I would have to curve my sentiment to fit in there, but that could still be fun. I need to decide what my sentiment is going to be. I don't think I want to use any of these because it's more like, I would have to use something that's only one line if it's going to fit in there, and we only have long time no see or make a splash. I don't know if I want to use either of those. Where is the sentiment set? The sea sentiments. Let's see what we've got in here. Birthday fishes. That could be cute. What are you up to? I love that. That's so adorable. Oh, you are fantastic. Love you deeply. Let's celebrate. Have a jolly good day. A jelly good day. Waves of happiness. You, me, and the sea. Seize the day. I do love this little hermit crab. I wonder if I could put him in there somewhere. Should we just do best fishes? This is always the dilemma, trying to decide. And usually I just go for a birthday sentiment if possible, because I do sell the most birthday cards. But like I said, I won't be selling this one because it's not going to fit in my... I don't have the packaging for it. I don't have... If anybody knows of like where to get the little plastic sleeves for square cards, let me know. But I haven't seen any anywhere. Same with the slimlines. I don't know. Maybe let's just try best fishes. Let's try it and see. That could work. Short and simple. I don't know. Maybe it's too small for the space though. Let's try You Are Fantastic. It's a little bit longer. Maybe that would just suit the space a little bit better. Like I said, I'm going to have to curve this. I can't do it right now because I'll need another block or something to make sure that it curves. But I like that better. Let's do the You Are Fantastic. I think that is a general sentiment that can be used for a lot of different things. I wonder if I can get this hermit crab in here. Maybe we have to take the conch shell out. Hermit crab could go there. He looks cute. Or we could move the conch shell over here and have the nautilus maybe somewhere there. Am I getting overcrowded though? I don't want to overcrowd. I have a tendency to overdo. Or I could move this up a little bit and maybe fit it here in this corner. This is how it works when I'm brainstorming cards. It's like trial and error, trying to figure things out, moving things around, seeing what works in certain places and what doesn't. I think these little solid fish could be fun stamped in some of these spaces. And the nice thing about these is that there's no eye or anything. It's just a solid little fish. It's more of like a background image. And so they could easily be turned this way and they still look exactly, they fit, you know. You could have them stamped right in there as well, which I may do. I may stamp a few of these in the background to just fill in the scene a bit more. So that could go there maybe. I feel like I still need something here. But then again, it could be just the stamping of the fish. But let's see what else we've got. If there's anything else small. I have to be careful, like I said, because I have a tendency to want to squeeze in whatever I can. I do love these little droopy fish. I love how they're, I don't know what they're called, but I think they're so fun. I could maybe put one right in there. He's pretty small, so he doesn't take up too much space. I do like that. There's also this absolutely adorable seahorse but I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm filling it up too much. Yeah, I think that's too big. I think I'm going to do the little droopy fish. I love the seahorse though. I'm going to have to make another card using these mermaids again soon because I just love this set so much. Oh, the seahorse also has two. There's one here and one here. I wonder if I try... Sorry about that. Sounds like a motorcycle is going by. If I try the one going the other way, no, he's still too big. Size didn't change, just the direction. But anyway, I'm definitely going to have to use this set again soon because I love it so much. And I have been like weeding and weeding until it was like warm enough outside to like use this. Although I should have done Mermaid. I didn't even think about it. I totally forgot about it. I've never done it, but I get so excited when I see them start popping up and I'm like, oh yeah, I should have planned something and done Mermaid because I love seeing all the mermaid cards that people do in May, or mermaid illustrations. I follow a lot of illustrators on Instagram as well, and I love to see all the mermaid things for May. But yeah, I'm thinking this is good. And then there are some bubbles as well. So any spaces that I feel like maybe need something, but I don't want to do the fish, I could also add bubbles. That's another option. And there is a single fish as well in this Sea Sentiments. So if you want to, you know, not have the trio, but just have one, or be able to stamp it around and you know, and squeeze it into little spaces, there's a single one as well. So we'll go ahead and put him on there so that we remember, because we're going to take a picture to remember the layout of this card. And I think I'm happy with that. I mean, obviously I'm going to stamp more of the fish, and we need to figure out what we're going to do as far as the background and everything, but so far I'm really liking this, so I think I'm ready to snap a photo. So I'm going to grab my camera, and by camera I just mean the camera on my phone. So I'm just going to grab that and then make sure that I've got that lined up so that I can remember exactly where I wanted everything to go. And then I'll snap a photo. So there we go. So I've got everything figured out. And now all I'm going to do is just slide this to the side so I can grab my Misty and start to stamp everything out. So I'll be right back. And actually, before I stamp things out, I did see this little piece of coral that I think would be nice also by this rock, maybe behind this piece or something. Maybe I could layer that up, or put it on the other side, or put it over here. So I definitely want to stamp this out because I think that'll add a nice, really pretty pop of color, because I could do the coral in red or hot pink or orange or something. So it's another fun little pop of color to use. So I'm going to go ahead and include that on the card as well. All right, so I am going to grab a piece of white cardstock. And I keep all of mine, I pre-cut them so that I have them ready to go, and I cut them down to the same size as a standard A2 size card. So it's 4 1/4 wide by 5 1/2, and this is the size that I prefer to color on. It just fits well in the frame. I can zoom in for the coloring portion of the video, and so that's a size that I like. So I just keep these pre-cut down. I cut the, you know, I get the reams in, and then I cut them all down to size and just keep them in a little tray. You can see that in my craft room tour video if you haven't checked that out. I have an entire tour of my craft room, and I recently updated that. So that is how I have everything stored. And now I'm just going to start laying out all of these stamps and kind of figuring out how I want them to go. Just trying to make the most use of this space. There is quite a lot of images for this card since it is a square card. We've got some space there to use. So I'm going to try to get everything on one sheet. I much prefer to have everything on one sheet if possible. Sometimes I do have to do a few things on a second sheet though. It just depends. So let's see. And this is, again, it's just trial and error, trying to figure out how everything is going to fit well. But trying to make the most of that space. And I need to leave room, you know, around the images for the die cutting to make sure I can get clean cuts with everything, and try to do as few passes as possible. It usually does take a few because everything is squeezed in there, but as few as possible. If I can do it all in 2 or 3 passes, that is fantastic. So we've got, okay, I don't need to stamp out the fish or the sentiment because those are just solid images that will be added after the background is done. They're not going to be Copic colored, so they don't need to be on this sheet. Here we go, and then it's just the conch. I always want to say conch, but I know that's wrong from spending time in the Florida Keys. I know that, you know, you can get like conch chowder and conch fritters and all that stuff, and they are very adamant that you pronounce it correctly, which is conch. The CH makes a K sound, but I grew up saying conch, so sometimes I still slip up and accidentally say it the wrong way. All right, I think I've got everything spaced relatively well. So I'm gonna go ahead and close the door of my Misty. Try to move that turtle just slightly away from the leaves, but then I think that's good. Okay, I'm gonna close the door of my Misty, pick all of those up at once, and then I'm gonna stamp these out. Stamping these out in Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink. This one is alcohol marker friendly. You want to make sure whatever ink you're using is alcohol marker friendly if you're going to be coloring with any alcohol markers. It's completely different if you're going to watercolor or I don't know if it's different for colored pencils. I haven't used colored pencils in so long. I don't remember what the proper ink was for them. I'd have to look it up again. But you do want to make sure that you're using the right ink for whatever coloring medium you're going to be using. That is really important, especially with the alcohol markers or the watercolor, because you will smear your ink into your images if you're not... Oh, how did that rock shifted somewhat? Okay. Well, in order to move it, I'm going to have to wipe it off because otherwise I'm going to get my finger full of ink. So I'm using my Lawn Fawn stamp chamois, and I'll just smooth that over slightly so that it fits. Hopefully that fits better. It's a little bit close to the mermaid's tail. Is that gonna fit? Yes. Okay, so I'll just re-ink that rock up. I don't know how that happened. It must have just slid before I picked up the door of the Misty, but anyway, and then I'm using my Twiddler's Nook Pressure Pal to use even pressure, especially since I have so many images stamped down. Just make sure I get all that ink transferred. Although sometimes I do find that with this waffle flower grip mat that somehow, I don't know if it gets bubbles underneath or whatever. I tried to pick it up and set it back down. Sometimes there are spots that don't ink as well. This one looks like it did pretty good. Everything looks even. It's not enough. Why is there a line there though? Was there a piece of... It's very possible that there was a dog hair on that mermaid. I'm going to stamp it down again, but I may have to re-stamp this entire sheet because of that. Happens sometimes, but that's the fantastic thing about having a stamp positioner like a Misty, because all I have to do is pull this piece of cardstock out and stick a new piece back in. I don't have to rearrange all of these images again. So let's go ahead and stamp down a second time. I always do a second stamping no matter what, because I like a bold black outline. I don't know. That's gonna show no matter what. So I'm gonna have to restamp this whole sheet, I think. I will save this because I could still reuse the rest of these images and make another card with them. I also see there's like a tiny little hair on the shell of the hermit crab. So I am gonna clean him off for the next sheet. But I could color that. I could color over that and you would never know. I can use a white gel pen along the edge and hide the part that's over the edge of the shell and do some little spots on his shell with some browns that will cover up that. That I'm not so worried about, but this piece cuts into the white part that is between her curls. So there's not really... I mean, maybe I could probably cover it up with a white gel pen. So like I said, I'm not going to throw this sheet away because I can use it and make another card. I can use the other elements. I can stamp a second mermaid, maybe use a different one and make another card. So I'll hang on to that, but I am going to restamp this sheet. And I'm going to go ahead and maybe do that off screen because I feel like this is getting boring. I don't know what I should include in these Plan a Card With Me videos. I just try to include the whole process because this isn't something I normally share in my regular videos, and so it might interest people. I don't know. You guys can let me know what I can skip over, but I'm going to skip over restamping this. I'll come back when I've got a new sheet stamped for you. Alright, so I have stamped out a new sheet of images, and I actually stamped it out 3 times. The third stamping, though, I just pressed very, very lightly because I just wanted it to be just slightly bolder and blacker than it was, but I'm very happy with how this sheet turned out. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, clean off these stamps, and then we'll come back for the next step. Okay, so now I need to figure out what I want to do for the background of this card. We're not going to use any pattern paper on this card because there is no room. Like, this is going to fill up the entire card front. So, but I do need to figure out what I'm going to do for the background, and I'm thinking I'm going to do some ink blending. I think maybe I could take a part of this die and kind of trace that onto a piece of Bristol and figure out where I want the ground to be. I'm thinking maybe down in this area could be the ground, the sand underwater, and then anything above that would be the water. So I need some brown shades and I need some blue or green or whatever shades I want to use for the underwater area. I'm thinking I don't want to go too dark with the background because I'm feeling bold colors that really pop for this card. I mean, don't hold me to it yet, but the colors I'm feeling for this are like maybe like a hot pink and purple, orange, lime green. I'm feeling like really bright, vibrant, like a coral reef type colors, you know, colors that are really vibrant and pop. So I want the coloring to stand out. I don't want the background to be in competition with the coloring. So I'm thinking maybe a little bit softer of a background and then bold with the coloring choices. So let me go ahead and grab some of my distress inks and I'll show you which ones I plan to use. Okay, so here is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking antique linen for sure. This is a great color for sand. I'm thinking the sand could be mostly the antique linen, and then I could darken that up with maybe a bit of gathered twigs down at the bottom. and possibly just a touch of vintage photo. I don't want to overdo it with the vintage photo because I don't want it to get too dark, and it's a small area that I would be saving for the sand. And then as far as the ocean, I'm thinking maybe I would start light closest to the sand and work my way darker. And I would start with maybe a speckled egg because it's a really soft and more desaturated tone. So I think transitioning from the antique linen into the speckled egg would be a good transition color. And then going into some salvage patina with possibly a little bit of peacock feathers at the very top just to brighten that up as well. So those are the colors I am going to set aside for this card. I think that's what I'm going to do. The other thing that I'm trying to figure out now is how exactly I'm going to match them up, because I'm thinking I'll just die cut the die out of white cardstock and lay that over top of the ink blending. But then how do I make sure that the ink blending lines up with the die? Like I said, I could take a pencil and trace the line that I want to use as, you know, the stopping point between the two. But I mean, distress inks are meant to blend, so it's not going to stay exactly, you know, in that spot. It's not going to be like a perfect line. There'll be more of a blend between colors, but I think that should be okay. I think that's the best way to do it. I haven't come up with another idea, so I think that's probably what I will do. So yeah, I think that's all there is for this video for today. I've got my stamps picked out. We did end up going with images and a sentiment from all three. We've got images from all three because we did use the hermit crab, and then also a sentiment from that one. And then we've got our die. We've got our stamped images. We've got our Distress Oxide inks figured out, and I've got a basic color palette in mind as well. So yeah, I'm excited to create this card. So stay tuned. This video will be up on Monday, and then Friday will be the completion of this card. So stay tuned for that if you're excited to see how this mermaid card turns out. Let me know if you'd like to see more mermaid cards in the future, because I am definitely excited to make some more. All right, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you had a good one and got something from this video, and a little bit more idea of how my mind works, at least, as I'm coming up with card ideas, and hopefully something that will help you out as well. Thank you so much again. I love hanging out with you guys, and I'll see you soon in another video. Bye-bye.